sometimes it's a lot of shooting from the hip, so to speak. So, all right. For those that don't know, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself in your works, and then we'll get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Kimberly Kogut. I am a indie romance author. I have my debut book, Hearts and Shadows, um, mafia romance, enemies to lovers. There is no spice. There is tension. I also have my fantasy, Embers of Desire. It is book one of a trilogy.
I was trying to
I
remember how
also
to do it.
have I also have a recently released collection of my own personal poetry called Unbroken Skin. And with Unbroken Skin, half proceeds are going for mental health awareness and to my local community to help people who need more help in that. A way to give back.
So I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but I just got this shirt today. So just stay another day.
Where's that from? Is that from?
It's a foundation for mental health.
Well, I mean, I had gone through my own personal traumas. Thank you, Jackie. Um, And I feel like I had this ratty notebook that was falling apart of all the poetry I wrote during my traumas and kind of like my hope beacon to get out of the dark time. So I figure there's a lot of people out there that go through worse or have been through similar that think they're alone. And I felt it was time for me to let people know from my end they're not alone.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point to make. That being said, you want to get into the comments or the questions I have for you?
Sure. I'm you are the host. I am here to answer whatever questions the best I can and have fun.
The first one is, how did you come up with the title for Hearts and
I
Shadows?
have I've always had the thought between me and my husband because we've been through so much and a lot of stuff has tried to pull us apart. What would we risk for love? That is the main question I wrote to kind of have the reader think about while reading. And I do that with all my books. I try to include that question to where the reader is thinking about it. Thank you. Um, I've also had this weird gothic obsession of darkness, shadows, and even I just feel comfortable in the dark. So it's a romance. So hearts and then shadows is like my comfort zone. Um, it's not super dark, but it's just like with the cover, there's symbolism. So even though there's the darkness and the shadows and everything like that, there is always a glimmer of hope, glimmer of happiness, glimmer of love, always a chance. And yeah, I went through like 6 different titles, and then I finally just said, "Screw it, this is my title." Because it doesn't give too much away. It's kind of a little more on the mysterious side, and it can hopefully interest readers into taking a chance on it. Especially since it's Hearts and Shadows is my debut, and we'll be celebrating 1 year in August.
Sweet. It's about time
I
I
can't
got
believe
to
it.
it then.
I can't believe it's almost a year though. Yeah. In the comments, cover's beautiful. That cover was a pain in the neck. It took me 3 months to sketch out on my tablet. It was a pain in the neck.
I think it worked out quite well, though.
Well, the reason I chose the design of the cover is the skeleton hand represents the darkness of the past and what you had, and then it's offering a chance of beauty and happiness and love. And I felt like having the symbolism in the covers, um, especially for my debut, it added more depth to the story, if that makes sense. Excuse me.
Well, normally I read the blurb for a little bit. Do you want me to go ahead and knock that out real quick?
Sure.
Elna is a strong-willed daughter of a recently assassinated mafia boss. Dante is a skilled assassin hired to eliminate the Vittori family, but is conflicted. When Dante and Alana cross paths, their initial confrontation is filled with animosity. However, they find themselves drawn to one another, caught in a web of desire and loyalty. I love how it's brief but to the point.
I had no idea how to do a blurb, so I pretty much jumped in and said, I hope I got this.
We actually
And
have a formula for it that Silas borrowed from a few other authors um, for like doing blurbs and stuff. But typically, you answer these four questions, and then it's pretty concise and to the point. And it's not like a whole book synopsis like a lot of people seem to write anymore.
oh, yeah.
So
But also with the blurb, I didn't want to give too much away.
right,
I wanted to get people on the hook to read it.
right. Um, what was your favorite part about the story?
I My favorite part was when they got to the point they both agreed it's we're gonna risk everything for each other and our future. And even though Elena and Dante didn't believe that they deserved it, and that's something me and my husband went through. We and I feel that's when they decided that their worth and their relationship was worth the risk of everything they knew and everything they had. That is my favorite part.
No, I haven't read Embers of Desire, any of your other works yet, but is there a common thread between your stories?
I always, when I'm writing my stories, I always include, as I mentioned, try to have the question, what would you risk for a chance at love? I believe in second chances. I believe in no matter how dark someone's past is. I think it shows with Dante um, in Hearts and Shadows that he had a past, and that's all he knew. But when he all same with Elena, that's all she knew, and they both were throughout. What is it worth it? Is it really? Is it going to be okay? Um, I just I'm trying to include that question for the readers in all my works, except my poetry collection.
Okay, cool. How do you come up with the material for your stories? Is it something that is based off of real life experiences, or I noticed in your author about the author, you said you always wanted to be an author.
I've wanted to be an author since I was 6 years old. Um, I went to my local library one day and there was a local author, a children's book author, who unfortunately passed away. Um, and he was like my favorite book, favorite author, everything, and I wanted to be an author illustrator. I cannot I can draw on the tablet, but I cannot draw a children's book to save my life. Um, and I felt like I was always journaling. I was always writing stories. And I kind of took a twist on my own personal relationship with my husband um, because he's my biggest supporter. He's the one that hit publish. I was ready to hit delete. So it's his fault.
In
But
the best way possible, though.
yeah. I try to take some part of my own personal experience and put it in the characters or in the storyline. Um, it's the story is in Venice, Italy. My grandfather is from there. I've tried to put different little details about the characters, similar to my husband and myself, personality traits, stuff like that. Um, it's going to be coming out more in my hopeful soon to be release in like the next 6 months because I include my day job type environment. But I want to include a piece of myself because my writing is a piece of myself. Being able to read and being able to write is creating an escape from my own messed up reality. And writing, I can create my own escape. I can direct it, even though the characters won't shut up. um, but I can do it. It's an escape for me.
Cool. Um, what's one thing you want to get from or people to get out of your books?
I want to be able to give them their own escape. I want to be able to create a universe with characters that are relatable. With, the mafia vibe is kind of far fetched, in my opinion, but you never know with someone's life. I want to be able to have the characters relatable, have it to where it's as if when you're reading, you're watching a film, like with subtitles, because I write very cinematically. To where if it was ever to be turned into a film or what have audio, which is actually in the process, um, make it easier. But I want to be able to give them an escape that is relatable with the characters, to where they can put themselves in the character's shoes.
Cool. I know a lot of us have day jobs, but what does a day of writing look like if you get a chance to write?
Well, like today, it depends on my work schedule. I am a school bus driver by day, so and I do work year round. I also work during the summers. Um, I wake up 4 in the morning, do my day job. I always have my tablet with me or a notebook, um, and my phone, of course. Hi, Jimmy, and uh, I always have my post-it notes or something I could write with. And even if I see someone walking down the street, I can have an idea, something spark, and I'll write it down. I even have a post-it pad on my nightstand next to my bed in case I dream, which never makes sense when I wake up. Um, when I have field trips and extra trips other than my regular school run, I sit there on my tablet writing, or I have my notebook writing. My coworkers look at me like I'm crazy because I lock myself in the bus. But and then I do my afternoon, and then I come home. Excuse me, and I sit at my desk with my laptop and my desktop, and I am going to town, trying to make sense of what I wrote through the day. Sometimes my husband feels a little lack of attention, but he gets his attention. Um, like he knows when I'm writing. I put my music on. I'll even pop in some lives. I know I've popped in your live a couple times while I'm writing or even editing. It's just, I try as much as I can.
Cool. We talked about some of your upcoming projects, but and even one of the other questions I had is what got you into writing? So, um, is
It
there?
was,
I got another question that we'll get to in a little bit, but I wanted to share one of my favorite quotes, if you don't mind. This is
oh
page
no, I'm so excited.
This is from page 185 in Hearts and Shadows. Their love wasn't a fairy tale. It was devoid of struggles and challenges.
That's how every relationship, in my opinion, is. You have your ups, your downs, your positives, your negatives, the time you want to sometimes. But it's worth it in the end, most of the time. I say most of the time because I know divorce and such like that. But
You know, some of us didn't find it, so we're struggling with it a second time.
maybe that wasn't the one. Someone told me, my grandmother used to tell me, there's three loves of your life. Your sweetheart love when you're young, like a teenager, your high school sweetheart, and they don't last. Most of the time they don't last, or you go your separate ways. There's the one that's going to hurt you the most. Um and then there's the forever one that you're meant to be with. That's what my grandmother always said. And I believe I've had all three, and um my husband isn't going anywhere. I don't think anyone can deal with my craziness more than he can. So it's Monster. It's not adult juice. I say that for TikTok. We love TikTok shop.
Yeah. I'm drinking water. It's only like 120 degrees, it feels like out here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm inside, doing it on the back porch like I used to.
Yeah. Well, I don't unfortunately have a porch in my place, but I wish I did. Hopefully our next one will.
Casey said she went straight for the forever one.
I mean, but like life happens. Like I said, there are people that have their high school sweetheart, and you guys go to college, you date other people, and then you find your way back to each other. Some people are lucky to find the forever one as soon as they start out in the world, and there are others that do experience all three. And when I say the three loves, it doesn't mean relationship. It also could mean friendship.
Yep. What is your favorite non-spoiler character to get rid of in this book?
Well, well, for I'm gonna give a spoiler of one of my works in progress, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Hearts and Shadows is technically a standalone, but we have a second book in the works from the same universe from one of the my unalived character from here. I forgot what his name was because my brain is like Dory. Um, my favorite character to get rid of in here, I don't want to get rid of any of them. But we do have a spinoff coming up for the universe of Hearts and Shadows. I didn't really get rid of a lot of characters in this, though.
True.
I think I only got rid of one, two. But my favorite one was I forgot his name. I'm trying to find it. The snitch that was helping her.
It's at the tip of my tongue, and I'm sure
He was playing both sides, and she said, "Nope, no more. Bye. I don't need you anymore."
It wasn't Silas, was it?
No, I think it was. Where is it? I just had it. And I don't mean to sound all confused, but like with all the characters I have running around in my head and my work is like,
I was flipping through trying to find it, and I'm like, this is the only other character I'm seeing off the top of my head right now. Silas,
right? Like,
leave Silas alone.
I am so sorry.
It's spelled the
No,
other way, Silas. It's spelled with an I.
Different person.
Yeah.
but we are. I really don't like getting rid of my characters. I don't like unaliving them. Pretty much, I unalive them when they don't shut up and they want to take control of where the story is going. So, I can't think of his fucking name. I'm sorry for cussing.
Oh, you're fine. This is an 18 plus live. I think we're good.
Well, then again, you never know. I never know until, it's mentioned.
Well, I can't even figure out how to undo it on this one. So Artemis says you have to put your characters in their place.
That's why I unalive them. But I think I can't think of the character's name. I'm flipping through, but I can tell you the character that hurt me the most to unalive, and that is her father. That hurt me because the reason I wrote the father-daughter relationship is because my own father, he was very stern and he wanted boys. He wanted us to kind of go in his footsteps. And I went totally the opposite way. It was also kind of like a memento to him, like a I'll be okay. And because unfortunately he can't be here with me to enjoy it. He passed 8 years ago. Unfortunately, he couldn't see this chapter of my life, but I feel like he's with me. That's why I tried to put it out on August 17th, but KDP wouldn't let me. I wanted to have a connection to my dad. Anytime I write father daughter, I always put my own personal stuff in it, and it kills me. But I actually, when I finished Hearts and Shadows, I ugly cried badly, and it takes a lot for me to cry. But I have a question for you.
Sure.
How did you like it?
I liked it a lot. Yeah, I read it pretty quickly. It was different for me because I'm not used to reading a whole lot of romances, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I loved the way it ended and stuff. So
My mother described it as a mafia Hallmark movie. And the reason I didn't put any spice in it, and some of my other, like, Embers of Desire does have some spice in it. My other works are coming in. His favorite ice cream is pistachio. I personally don't like pistachio, but that is his because that's my husband's favorite. So pretty much Dante is based off of my husband, and Elena is kind of based off me. But we do have a second book in the universe coming out, hopefully in 2027.
How did you come up with your character names for your story?
I had a dream. I had a dream for Elena. Um, and with Dante, I have always been obsessed with Dante's Inferno and the lore about all that whole thing. Um, and that name just bad guy felt bad guy vibes, like bad boy vibes, and it just stuck with me. And I figure I'm gonna use that name as a character. Elena was a dream that kind of came off of watching some sappy movie on Netflix one night.
Welcome in, everyone. We're discussing in Hearts and Shadows today with Kimberly. So, one of these
My
days, I'm going
firstborn.
to have to get a signed copy of it. But
I am trying to. I have a lot of people message me about signed copies. Um, I'm trying to get the inventory in order to do that. Um, my day job pays us peanuts pretty much. So I'm trying to readjust the budget to where I can get that stock. And even I had someone ask me if I'm going to open a TikTok shop. I want to be able to have the inventory to be able to offer signed copies. I do have them on my website, or you could just DM me and we can go from there. All the links to the Forbidden Forest and the Noble Barn are up in my profile in my magical tree of links. And my DMs are always open for ask about signed copies, what have you. Yes, Artemis, yours is coming. I already have it packaged. It's just the mailman at my post office does not like me. But it is coming. It is all packaged up.
Must have missed a comment. Jeremy and Addie are going at it with their ice cream comment.
Anything chocolate. It has to have chocolate in it or I'm not about it.
What's your favorite world scene? I know it's set in Venice, Italy, but is there a specific place in the book that
I like the little apartment where it's cozy and they're just starting to decide if everything is worth it. If it's really worth risking everything. That cozy little apartment. Because that cozy little apartment that's in the book is like when me and my husband got our first apartment together. And they were able to be themselves. They didn't have to hide. She didn't have to put that mafia princess vibe on. And he didn't have to, he was able to show his softer side. They didn't have to perform for anyone. They were able to be cozy and just be together. That is my favorite location in the whole book. Where they didn't have to worry about the outside world. That was their escape.
no, I know you don't like probably specifically mention their backgrounds, but how did you come up with the culinary idea for Dante?
The culinary talent for Dante. My husband is a chef.
Okay.
I love baking, but my husband's been a chef for years now. And Dante is based off my husband. The only thing my husband said is the character cannot look like him. And I said, okay. He said I could write all the characters I want off of him. It's just all he asks is they cannot look like him. I'm like, I can do that.
It's fair and funny at the same time.
Well, I mean, like even his coworkers, like I try to something I went back and forth with before I published was if I wanted to stay with my actual name, which is Kimberly Kogut, or if I wanted to have a pen name. Just a way to separate myself from my author life. Because some things people may not like, especially with my future works that are hopefully coming out end of 2026, maybe. We'll talk about that later. It's a way to separate, even though writing is my escape. But I see other authors that like Rebecca Yarros. She's a great author. Dan Brown, they're very well known, but there are also for security, privacy. It's something that I really pondered about because I take inspiration from friends, my husband, myself. I want to be able to kind of separate, if that makes sense.
It does, but you can always get a pseudonym when the time comes if you feel the need.
Well, I mean, with the two that I'm working on right now. Well, I'm working on four, but the two that are almost done, I might have under a different pen name because of the unhinged vibe of it. To where I know my coworkers will read it. I don't want them to think, "Oh no, she can't work here anymore." um, I want to be able, especially with the more unhinged and darker, spicier things. Sorry, the sun is setting here. I am so sorry.
You're fine. I
Um,
got this really bright light right here.
I want to be able to create that for the more unhinged and spicier and violent stories. I'm probably going to go under a different pen name for safety, privacy, stuff like that, and a way to separate myself. Um, but we're working on that.
Well, Silas is pretty good at helping with pen names and stuff too. If you need help,
Well, also, David, Hearts and Shadows is also open for VA auditions for audiobook. I'm also thinking of possibly just narrating it myself and then reissue an audio with a dual POV. Um, Budget wise, I'm probably better off doing it myself and then redistributing it down the line. Um, but that is something I'm hoping to start eventually, hopefully soon. Because a lot of people I know, it's difficult for them to read on their Kindle or on their phone. It hurts their eyes, and it's hard. They don't want their books to get damaged, and it's easier for it to be read to them. So I figure the next step for Hearts and Shadows is audio, and then I'm hoping to have a 1 year limited edition in August. I have a friend of mine designing another cover for it, like a limited edition cover. I'm trying to do the spray edges, but the company is being difficult with me. They want more money than I have. But
speaking of which, have you thought about maybe doing a Kickstarter or something for helping with
I've
that?
I've thought about doing a Kickstarter, but I don't understand it.
Well, if you'd like, I can put you in touch with one of my friends that she's done several of them.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and you two, she's even got like a consult thing that she does about it.
oh yeah, sure. I appreciate it. I see a question. Are
Are
there
there,
any other genres that you're interested in dabbling in? That is a great question. So I have my mafia romance. I have my fantasy romance. I'm currently working on two thriller romances. I'm dipping my toe in the thriller psychological vibe. And then I also have a epic fantasy that I'm working on. Lots of things. My brain just doesn't shut off. Even when I'm asleep, it doesn't shut off.
what is your antagonist ultimate nightmare?
To not be good enough.
I can see that.
To not be worthy. To not be good enough. Because I think that's a question that a lot of that's an ooh, that sun is bright. I think that's a question a lot of people ask themselves. Yeah, there we go. I think that's a question they ask them. That a lot of people feel. Um, and like I said, I wanted the characters to be relatable, and it's based off me, and like me and my husband, and we're just human. We're trying to function. We're trying to survive. 1 second.
Welcome in, everyone. Just came in. We're talking with Kimberly about her book, Heart in the Shadows. Trying to get my fat fingers out of the way so you can see the cover. She did draw the cover herself.
We're going to do that because my curtains don't want to cooperate.
That's fine.
Different angle. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, that cover took me 3 months because I was overly perfectionist and I wanted it to be perfect.
Um, you mind if I read the first little bit of your book so we can get people enticed into reading it?
Can I read it?
Or you can read it if you'd rather.
What's the
We
best
got
quality that you and your FMC share? I think it overall is the strength that she has because she has been through so much, just as I have been. Um, she has the strength to persevere through everything. She's gonna push through. She's gonna figure it out. She's gonna get it done, and that's the same way I am. Especially before I brought Hearts and Shadows. I'm gonna get a little personal real quick. I was homeless for 5 years, living in my car, working, and writing was my only escape. Work and writing, and that's why I think my husband was pushing so hard because we accomplished so much. And now it was time when things were looking better for me to accomplish the dream. So, in the chapter, I'll read chapter 1. It's not that long. It's she is a mafia princess. She's gone through a lot. She's witnessed a lot, but she pushes through it. And having the strength to literally be saying, I love this man. I'm going to be with him no matter what. And yeah, I was raised in a mafia as a mafia princess, but fuck it. He's more important.
whenever you're ready, Kimberly.
Chapter 1, Elena's Grief and Vow. The shattering sound of gunshots still echoed in Elena's ears, a phantom reverberation that clawed at the edges of her sanity. The opulent ballroom, moments ago alive with the glittering laughter and clinking glasses of the elite, now felt like a tomb. Crimson stained the pristine white carpet, blooming around her father's lifeless body like a macabre flower. His eyes, usually sparking with an unnerving intensity, were now vacant, glazed over with the finality of death. The scent of expensive perfume and polished wood was overwhelmed by the coppery tang of blood, a scent that would forever be etched into her memory. She had seen it all: the flash of steel, the muffled thud of the impact, the chilling expression on the assassin's face. A face she could not grasp, obscured by shadows and the swirling chaos of the aftermath. Her father, the formidable Don Alessandro Rossi, protector of his family and empire, reduced to a broken figure on the floor. The invulnerable had been felled, leaving a gaping hole in her life, a wound so deep it threatened to consume her entirely. The whisper started immediately, a low hum of fear and speculation that rippled through the assembled guests. People moved like phantoms, their faces etched with mixture of shock and morbid fascination. The police arrived, their blue uniforms a stark contrast to the decadent surroundings, their presence doing little to alleviate the icy grip of terror that had settled over the Rossi estate. Elena stood frozen, like a statue of grief amidst the maelstrom. Her tailored black dress, once a symbol of elegance, now felt like a suffocating shroud. The weight of her father's absence pressed down on her, a crushing burden that threatened to crush her spirit. This wasn't just the loss of her father, it was the shattering of her world, the destruction of everything she had ever known. The anger, however, began to simmer, a slow burn in the icy depths of her despair. It wasn't a raging inferno. Not yet. It was a controlled fire, meticulously stoked, waiting for the right moment to erupt. A vow formed in the silent chambers of her heart, a promise whispered on the wind of her grief. She would avenge her father's death. She would hunt down those responsible, dismantle their empire, and make them pay the ultimate price. Her father's legacy, a legacy built on power, ruthless efficiency, would not be squandered. She would not let his assassin escape unscathed. The Moretti family, their name synonymous with brutality and influence, were the prime suspects. Their long-standing feud with the Rossis had escalated over the years, culminating in a brutal act of violence. Elena knew the risks. She knew the Morettis were powerful, their reach extending far beyond the opulent facade of their own estates. But fear would not deter her. Grief had forged a steel in her heart, replacing the fragility of her mourning with the unwavering strength of purpose. The days following her father's funeral were a blur of activity. She immersed herself in her investigation, meticulously piecing together the fragments of information she had gathered. She delved into her father's private office, a sanctuary that now felt more like a battlefield. Each document, each photograph, each meticulously organized file was a clue, a breadcrumb, and a trail leading to her father's killers. Her father's study was a testament to his meticulous nature, every inch of the space carefully utilized, filled with leather-bound books, antique maps, and neatly stacked files. She ran her fingers across the cool surface of his mahogany desk, her touch lingering on the faint scent of his pipe tobacco, a familiar fragrance that both comforted and tormented her. She opened drawers, examined documents, her fingers tracing elegant script of his handwriting, each word a painful reminder of the life that had been abruptly snatched away. She found a hidden compartment behind a loose panel in his bookshelf, a secret compartment filled with documents detailing the Moretti family's extensive criminal activities, detailing their network of informants, their illicit dealings, and their brutal methods. She uncovered evidence of arms trafficking, money laundering, and political corruption. The extent of their criminal enterprise was staggering, a vast web of deceit that reached the highest echelons of power. Elena's resolve solidified. The investigation was no longer about avenging her father's death. It was about dismantling a corrupt empire that operated in the shadows, preying on the vulnerable and silencing those who dared to oppose them. She was armed with more than just grief. She was armed with knowledge, with evidence, with the burning desire to bring the Morettis to justice. She knew it would be She knew it would be a dangerous path, but she was prepared to walk it alone, if necessary. The weight of her father's legacy was heavy, but it was a weight she was willing to bear. His death was not in vain. His memory would fuel her every step. She began to cultivate informants, drawing on her father's network of trusted allies. She used her father's connections to gather information, playing the part of the grieving daughter, allowing people to underestimate her. But beneath the veneer of grief, a cold, calculating mind was at work. She was ruthless in her pursuit of justice, using her charm and intelligence to manipulate those who crossed her path. This city usually a place of vibrant energy and excitement, now it felt like a sinister labyrinth. Every shadowed alleyway, every dimly lit bar, every Calistine meeting held a potential threat. But Elena pressed on, her steps measured, her eyes constantly scanning her surroundings. She knew she was being watched, that the Morettis were searching for her, but she was a ghost in their midst, fitting between the shadows and the scene, but always aware. The night was her alley. Under the cloak of darkness, she conducted her investigations, the city lights casting long, distorted shadows, transforming familiar streets into a landscape of mystery and danger. She would meet with the informants in hidden bars, exchanging coded messages and secretive glances. She would spend hours poring over documents, her eyes burning with intensity, her mind relentlessly piecing together the puzzle of her father's death. She would visit the cemetery, sitting by her father's grave, whispering her plans and her grief into the silent earth. It was a ritual, a way to connect with him, to ask for his guidance, to remind herself of the reason she was fighting. The scent of lilies and damp soil, the sound of the wind sighing through the cypress trees. These were the sounds of her sorrow, but also the sounds of her determination. Her grief was a constant companion, a heavy cloak she wore, but couldn't fully shed. But it was also her fuel, her impetuous, her motivation to fight. She also lost her father, but she would not lose herself in the process of vengeance. She would carve her own path, guided by her grief, fueled by her rage, and driven by an unwavering vow. The Moretti family would pay for what they'd done, and Elena Rossi would make sure of it.
Wow. Addie had a question. What's your editing process like? Do you self edit or get editors?
I self edit it twice, but then I am on the traditional indie author budget of almost nothing. So being a school bus driver, I have a lot of teachers in the district where I drive. And I had two of the teachers who were English teachers read over my book, and they didn't ask for money or anything. They just asked for a signed copy. So I had two separate teachers read it on top of myself. Um, I mean, for my debut, I am very proud of it. I know it probably could have gotten a lot more attention to it, but it's I'm proud of it. And with all my future works, I feel that it's going to show how far I've come as an author, and I am very proud of Hearts and Shadows.
Welcome in, everyone. Just came in. Kimberly just finished reading her first chapter of Hearts in the Shadows, or Hearts and Shadows. I'm putting extra words in your title. Sorry.
It's okay.
um, I had a few more questions. If the computer doesn't want to fall asleep on me again. What's your favorite article of clothing that your main character wears?
I love Elena's ball gown at in chapter the initial meeting. They meet in a at a charity gala. Sorry, and she's wearing a midnight blue floor length gown, snug fit, and it's I just love that gown because I would love to actually own a gown like that. Dante's just always wearing black suits or combat gear. Nothing fancy. except in the apartment. Like, other than that, he's always wearing suits and combat gear. But my favorite is the midnight blue gown.
I'm going to look this up because it's a question I have, but it's it's relevant to get people to find you.
To find me,
Yeah, so we can get you your stuff.
my email. Okay, my email, my author email, my magical tree of links with all the links to where my Hearts and Shadows and my other works can be found, um, are in my profile. Also, they are on the Forbidden Forest. They are on at the Noble Barn online. They hopefully soon will be on TikTok Shop. Um, any questions or anything, feel free to shoot me an email, kimberlykogut.author@gmail. I can type that in the comments if you would like. Also, or my DMs, feel free to reach out. I do not have signed copies available at the moment, but I'm in the process of doing that because I know some people like their signed copies. David, I promise you will get one. Artemis, if you're still here, yours is going to be on its way soon. Um, I did take Hearts and Shadows and Embers of Desire off KU, but I'm thinking of putting it back up. I just have to wait for that time to lapse to where I can put it back. Um, Also, they are in the thank you. They're also open for VA auditions on ACX. I'm hoping to have it turned into an audiobook, but I'm also thinking of narrating it myself and then redistribute with a multi cast of male and female.
Cool. Usually I read what do you call it, the little thing that's in your bio on the Forbidden Forest, but I think we've already covered everything. So
I'm a school bus driver by day, indie author by night. I'm in Connecticut. Um, yeah, that's pretty much what it says. I have my husband. I have my fur baby. Um, what it says in my author bio is the same that it says in my about the author. Pretty much. Because when Hearts and Shadows came out, I had no idea what I was doing. So I just copied and pasted it from my book into my author thing. And I said, why not? And if I have to adjust it, I always can.
all right, I have a couple. I think two more questions, and then I'll cut you it loose for the basement to hit you with questions left and right.
Bring it on! No, just kidding.
um, is there a best outcome for your book? Do you want like an adaptation made of it, or a TV series, or maybe like a
Like an
Hallmark
end goal?
film? Or
Like an end goal?
yeah,
I would love to have Hearts and Shadows be a film.
okay.
I don't see it being a series personally. I see it being like a film that's shown at Sundance Festival or something like that. Um, I hope eventually down the line, if it gets picked up, that it could become a film. Um, or I could just figure it out myself. But that is my long term goal. I hoped because I write very cinematically, and I feel like I wrote it the way I want someone. Like I said, subtitles. It's literally subtitles for. Let me know if I'm wrong because when you're reading it, could you see it with the descriptions and
Mm-hmm.
everything? It. I feel like it would make a perfect film. Maybe one day it'll get picked up. You never know. I do want it to be an audiobook. I do want it to, in the long run, be a film.
And if there's one thing about your book you wish readers knew before reading, what would it be?
Don't judge the cover. Because I received a 2-star review from someone I know from a book club. I personally read, I know I've mentioned before in lives that you and I have been in before. I read the darker, the better, the spicier, the more unhinged. Um, this wonderful individual thought I wrote the same way. So she didn't go in open minded. Yes, it has a skeleton hand on the cover. It does look dark, but it's really not. Um,
I'd say the darkest part of it is
go
probably the
into
first
it open minded. No, seriously, like honestly, if like I read the darker the better. I read a lot of Ginger Moonwitch. I read a lot of the darker, crazier, out there, far fetched stuff. And if you pick up Hearts and Shadows, go in open minded. Don't go off of what I read or anything like that because my writing is totally different than what I read. I When I wrote Hearts and Shadows, I did not want to add spice to it because I had my mother's voice in my head saying, I'm going to read this and I'm probably going to have to go to confession. My mother's very religious, so she even brought that into it. But I had that in my mind, and I probably shouldn't have. But that's why my Embers of Desire, I'm dipping my toe into writing spice, and now I have 2 more projects I'm hoping to have out by the end of the year, and 2 more hopefully in 2027. That will have spice, not
right.
extreme spice, but it will have a lot more than Hearts and Shadows, Embers of Desire. Because I know Hearts and Shadows has the tension, you can feel it, but it doesn't go into it.
Um, Great show, gotta go, Lost Power. Oh no, Addie, I
Oh
hope everything's
no!
great. And you get your power restored soon. Um, Thank you for being on the show with me this week.
No
Normally I have
worries.
someone lined up, but I haven't really been asking people this week, so maybe next week's the week off.
Well, before you let me go, um, if I can share the titles of the 2 I'm hoping to have out this year, if that's
Sure.
okay. Um, I know I mentioned before I'm working on the bus driver thriller. I have decided to title that The Scarlet Line. It is a dark romance where a city bus driver unfortunately um, experiences a trauma and has a mental break, becomes an anti-hero to prevent any other women go through what she went through. The male character in that, in love interest, is actually a burnt out detective who's up for a promotion if he solves that case. And blah, 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 blah. Down the line, he's more supportive of her cause than he wants to admit. Also, I'm working on a detective thriller romance called Willow's Creek.
Okay.
Yay!
So everyone's just tuning in. We're about ready to break, but this has been great, and look forward to chatting more about future projects with you as they come out.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate it.
And
Thank
then
you, everyone.
it probably won't be this week. It'll probably be the following week. But every Monday I drop in the previous weeks on YT, if that makes sense.
Well, just
So
shoot me the link when you're ready to shoot that out. Just send me the
okay,
link and
and that way you can share it with all your friends. And that didn't make.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for coming in.